If you're a driven, active person who wants to reach and pursue a higher quality life with some ambition, then guess what? This podcast is for you. This is the Driven Athlete Podcast. What's up, y'all? It's your man, Dr. Kyle. Welcome back to the Driven Athlete Podcast. We got our very own Dr. Gianna Morton with us again. So it's a cool, legendary guest appearance. So thank you for coming on here.
Of course.
So if people didn't know, you were a competitive dancer, danced in college,
Yes.
danced your whole life, and that's like your thing.
Dance is my thing.
Did you, when did you start dancing?
My mom signed me up for like a ballet and tap class when I was 2.5.
Cool.
So as young as you can start.
Yeah. But it's cool because like it's a very demanding sport population that these girls and some guys, go through that they don't otherwise know things can be worked on and helped in the meantime, especially proactively too.
Yeah.
And that's what we nerd out on. So that's like your thing, to help young dancers get fixed. So you started at 2.5.
Yep.
Doing tap.
Yeah, tap ballet. They used to do like those combo classes. When you're 2, you don't have a big attention span for a long period of time.
Yeah. Yeah,
So.
totally. I see that, my daughter and all the other kiddos in there,
Looking around.
We actually tried my daughter to do some dance. I think she was like 3, just turned 3.
It's normal.
She wasn't ready.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was. The other little dots you got to stand on, and like
Yes.
she was just like zooming around and like not really paying attention. She's
try.
excited.
All the little gadgets. Stay here. Try to make it fun. But it's hard.
And they were like, we'll come back in a couple months.
Yeah.
Maybe 6 to 8 months from now. So what from there, right? You just kept going.
Yeah.
Did you always did you try other things in the meantime, like other sports too, volleyball, soccer?
I did. My mom signed me up for dance actually because my cousin was doing it. And I said, I want to do what Shannon's doing. Like, sign me up as well. And she was like, okay. So she signed me up. I did gymnastics for a little bit, which you could say is kind of similar to dance compared to like soccer. And then she signed me up for soccer. And after like a season or a couple years of playing that, I was like, can you just sign me up for more dance? She was like, okay.
Yeah.
I'll listen to the 5-year-old, see what she wants to do. So I guess I kind of knew from a young age that it's just what I liked. So I played like a recreational soccer league with like my brother. It was co-ed when I was probably in kindergarten. And I was like, it was good, but I just want to dance. So by 5, I had really stopped like gymnastics. Maybe I did gymnastics like one more year. But I had stopped like everything else and just kind of went full force into dance. But definitely on my like wanting.
And how old were you with that when you were like, I'm only dance now? Done to gymnastics, done with soccer, volleyball, whatever.
Probably about like 5 or 6.
5 or 6. Wow.
Yeah, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then at 5, leading up to that, like you start in like the baby ballet and tap, like you do the like recreational classes similar to, what Blakely's doing. And then at age 5, they asked me to be on the competition team, which was like, oh, this is really cool. Which is like the next step in like the dance world. So at that, I transitioned. I tried out for the competitive team, and then I started doing more dance because it was just more classes, more dances, and became more of like a weekend requirement in that sense. And then that's when it took off kind of from there.
Yeah, cool. So. That's awesome. Yeah. I definitely have heard and I agree that like gymnastics has a lot of carryover to a lot of things for like little kids. A great, sport activity to have young kids get into.
Yeah.
And then from there, it's like the gateway, just for motor skills and balance, coordination, athletic movements, power, jumping, landing, tumbling, stuff like that. We're planning on doing more of that with our kiddos too. Yeah,
it was fun. I mean, I don't know. This is 5-year-old me now. I don't know why I had said like dance is what I want to do. But actually there's a little bit of carryover. Like I did some tumbling type stuff when I started dancing, but different than like if I went down the gymnastics route that you see. So there's some carryover too of like things I did in dance that I probably learned in gymnastics, but not everything. It's still two different sports.
Yeah, totally. What do you love? What do you love about dance? Where you're like, this is what I want to do, and then enough strength to like through middle school, high school, college.
Keep doing it. I liked there's a big artistic component to it and like a creative component to it, as well as the physicality behind it. So I liked how there was like rules and ways things had to be done, but then that you also had like your own way to put your own like spin on it versus, sometimes other sports or activities, it's like, no, this is how you do it. You have to follow these steps and this process to catch the ball, to kick the ball this way. So there was like the basics foundations of like, this is how you turn, this is how you leap. And there was just so many like variations of how to do that. And then it was like, okay, now you're doing this to a really fast song. You're doing this to a really slow and emotional song. How can you change that movement? And how can you like tell the story? So I enjoyed like that part of it a lot.
So there's some creative interpretation that you can express through the dance moves. Cool. Yeah.
Like,
definitely not my thing.
Creativity, expression.
Yeah. This is a sad song. So like really express the melancholy.
Yeah. I started out, I was a big jazz person. Like would get out there in like the craziest costume, and it would be like a song where you'd had to like go crazy, and that was like what I started out loving. And then as I got older, I started to appreciate the more emotional pieces in that sense.
So then what would you say you really were like prioritizing and specializing in? Like jazz? Was that you like?
So jazz is what I started. Yeah. Like when I started doing all my solos, jazz was kind of like, they were like, do a jazz solo. Like that's what you're good at. So I did that. And then probably up until like 8th grade, maybe freshman year of high school, I added in like a contemporary / lyrical solo.
What's that mean?
So contemporary and lyrical are just slower. Those are what you would consider more like the emotional pieces versus jazz. So like jazz is one of those like pop songs you hear on the radio. Whereas like lyrical contemporary has like usually a story behind it, or there's something you're trying to portray, which that can happen in jazz, but it's different. It's more, you could say jazz is like the sassy or like Broadway theatrical type styles. And even within jazz and lyrical, there's so many variations. But lyrical and contemporary was more interpretive in that sense, whereas jazz was more like hit it hard, sassy,
fun,
like you think Rockettes, jazz, like that type of stuff. So I made that transition probably as I matured as well from like, that 13, 14 age through. And it definitely helped me grow as a dancer because you learn a lot about yourself as you're trying to like tell a story while dancing. And I always did lyrical and contemporary pieces, like group dances growing up. But solos are where it was just you on stage. So you really had more pressure to like perform. And I loved like lyrical and contemporary once I like got into it more. But as a kid, you love hip hop, tap, jazz, like all the fun, energetic ones. And then, as you get older, you mature, transition, and then I kind of switched to more of those styles.
Going through high school to college, what would you say was still your favorite that you're specialized in? Was it the jazz, pop, like hip hop?
I would say, jazz always was like, is my favorite. Like the high energy in college. We didn't do this as much in like my studio, but Palm is really popular in college, especially with like NDA and UDA competitions. It's its whole own category. So it's like jazz, but you're holding palms and everything's really like sharp. So it kind of has a little bit of that like cheer feel to it because you have the pom-poms.
When you say sharp, what do you mean?
Like when you're hitting, like there's a lot of movements like Y, T, low V, like it's a very precise movement. And it's like, there's like your arms have to be like that, thumbs tucked, they say donut holes to the front.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot of like cues and stuff, but it's like your arms have to be there and the whole team, like you want to look like the same. It wants to be a picture. So sharp in that sense versus lyrical would be like, all right, now fluff your arm out to the side, and everyone kind of would like do it in a slow, like their own way. So Palm was more like precise in that sense. But it was to like those fun, upbeat, like songs changing, like mixes. So I really enjoyed Palm because it was like, you got the crowd going.
Yeah.
But it's such a different like college dance versus competitions when you're like performing for a judge is so different. So that's why you kind of like a little bit of both.
Yeah. Do you remember any particular solo competitions, performances where you were like, you felt nervous, like you were like nervous? Yeah. Any memorable ones?
I think I always felt nervous going out. Obviously by like the end of the weekend. So if it was like the first dance of the weekend, it was my solo. I was like, how's the floor going to feel? Like, is it sticky? Is it slipperier? Like, am I going to hit these turns? Versus if like my solo was Sunday night. And I was like, oh, like I've danced in this like stage 10 times this weekend. Not a big deal. I'm trying to think if there's one in particular. I do remember I had a great performance once. It was a teacher first time I worked with him, and he was super, super like hard, like not loving, like that was so great. Like you came off and he was like, that was good. Like very not emotional, like was just, I guess, strict. And I came off after doing one of my solos and he was like, that was the best I've seen you dance. And I was like, wow.
But he said it like no emotion.
Like no emotion, but for him it was like a really big deal. And I was like, amazing. He was like, you showed like you like projected what I wanted you to project out there. And I would say
what
that
do you think that was?
I think I was just in a good like headspace at the time. Like I wasn't too nervous. I was obviously had a little bit of nerves, but it was a competition like that I felt really confident going into. And it was like, I'm just going to do what I got to do. And
she just felt like loose, confident, relaxed, and a good headspace. Mm-hmm.
And I was like,
what do you feel like you projected that he was like, you did the thing good? What was the thing? What'd you project?
If I remember from that performance was like, if you told me there was no one in the room, I would have been like, oh yeah, there's probably no one in the room. Like I wasn't focused on the audience and like, oh my God, everyone's watching me. It was like I was by myself and was able to just perform like I was in my bedroom and no one was watching. And I feel like that helped a lot because you weren't like worried where like, oh, are people like, are they judging you? Like, are you going to hit that turn or are your toes pointed on that leap? And I just kind of did it as if no one was watching or just one person was watching versus me having to perform in front of like a large crowd and getting like the nerves of that sense. So I feel like I was able to just like be myself in a way. And then he was like, do that again. Do that every time.
Cool.
So
yeah.
It was a cool moment. It was around that like middle school age. So I think it's like kind of like come over the curve of like being a little kid and then like understanding like the artistic like components behind dance. And I was like, that was it. Like,
is that what most girls do or guys too would do that? Like they turn a corner of comprehension at around 12, 13?
Yeah, I would say like middle school. I mean, it can vary for everyone, but middle school is a big time too, where you turn as a dancer and then the people who are like, this isn't for me, kind of fall off. So like I'll talk to people and be like, yeah, I danced up until like middle school.
Yeah, it's pretty classic.
Or like high school.
The classic fork in the road.
Yeah. Fork in the road where it's like, it was fun. I had a great time doing it, but like I have no interest in continuing versus like, no, like I want to keep doing this high school, possibly college, and from there.
Yeah. Cool. Did you battle any injuries?
I did have 2 injuries. One was dance related. Different than I know what we've talked about. So mine was like a incident. I did like a kick and I landed on the side of my foot and I broke my 5th metatarsal. So that was like almost like a freak accident where it wasn't like something that built over time. It was just, I was practicing on carpet. It was probably not the best place to be practicing. And I just like whacked it on the floor and it broke. And then my other injury was also to I think it was the opposite ankle. I don't remember anymore. But I sprained my ankle in gym class.
Oh, okay.
So it limited my dance abilities,
Yeah.
but it like wasn't dance that caused my injury.
Yeah.
It was floor hockey in gym.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. That's good.
You know, you make a dancer play floor hockey in gym, and that's what happens.
Not. Yeah. That wasn't your thing.
It wasn't my thing. It's okay.
Yeah. But you participated. That's what's important.
Exactly. Got the grade.
So with competitive dancers, but like after that fork in the road, come to high school and it's like really to dial in and get more competitive, train more purposefully, more aggressively and stuff. What's the ultimate pathway? Like, man, this girl or this guy took it to the end, like all the way to limits. And they're like, you know, I don't know, what, like 25, like they're like in their 30s.
Still dancing. Yeah. There's a couple, I would say there's two kind of forks in the road you can go. So you can become a dance major, where you like major in college in dance. Those girls usually end up going to perform after college, whether it's in a company or a ballet company, maybe the Rockettes, something where
or like Broadway or something.
Like Broadway, yeah, something where they're like on a performance track.
Cruise ships.
Cruise dancers, like they're performers on the cruise, and their career is like dancing.
And they travel, like if they're traveling businesses, like the ballet would travel from city to city to city.
Yeah, a little bit of both. Like when you're on a cruise, like you're going wherever the cruise ship is going.
Yeah.
But then there's also people who like Broadway in New York. It's not really traveling. So you sign up for that show. But it's usually like you're going from job to job, like contract to contract. It's not usually like you sign up for 10 years. It's kind of like, all right, we will have you for this year, 9 months, kind of, it depends on the contract and stuff. And then they could re-sign you from there.
Or go somewhere else.
Yeah. A lot of them sign up with or they'll go to like talent agencies, and then those people kind of help them find their next.
Like recruiting.
Yeah. Like a recruiting process in that sense to help them like guide where they want to be. Are you in LA? Are you in New York? Or are you just in the Midwest? Are you here in South Florida?
Yeah.
And then it can kind of guide you like where you're going and what you're doing.
So for the way my brain works, to be like, imagine if a baseball player, right, went to college, played in college, and then got drafted and then played in the like the minor leagues, and then made it to the big leagues.
Yeah.
Would the minor leagues and farm league type of level, what would that be? And then what would the big leagues be? And then the all-stars of the big leagues.
I would say it just depends on how, like, I don't say how big of the contract is, but like if you're on Broadway or you're on like a well-known like show, then that would kind of be like you made it to the big leagues, or you're in like a very like the Nutcracker,
the elite tier,
like the elite tier. But sometimes those like other maybe like farm teams, you can relate to maybe some of the smaller projects where you're still getting dancing, but like if I said your name, people would be like, I don't know who.
And you're
that
getting paid,
is.
but it's not like life-changing.
Yeah, like you're not signing like $1 million contracts in that sense.
Yeah.
And then to a lot of dancers too, as they get older through that process, will then become choreographers, and that's where you start to know a lot of the names. They'll go to conventions or studios, and places will hire them to come choreograph, and then that's where it's like, I know this person because they put out great choreography. I've seen it at competitions. I've seen it.
They were a pro
conventions.
Before, and then they transitioned to choreography.
Or some people even start like younger, like right out of college, and they'll start choreographing, and they still take some classes, and they're still doing like, I'll say like projects. I mean, just today with social media, it's grown so much. Like, I mean, you could be famous dancing on TikTok, be a professional dancer, and everyone knows you from your 30-second TikTok clips. But then also choreographing in that sense, and people will hire you to teach master classes or choreograph like competition dances in that sense. And then it's like, all right, like there you go. Like I know that name. Like I want to hire that person because they've done so well and their choreography has been well received. set up
Cool.
like competitions and stuff.
Yeah. Cool. What, I imagine it must be a difficult transition, just like for other high level professionals too, of like, you're on the tail end of your career and it's like, you're not getting as many offers of contracts. And it's like the realization of like, I'm not a young spring chicken anymore.
Yeah. I mean, and injuries can take people out. Like you could be completely healthy. You do something, you injure yourself, and it's like, well, I can't dance anymore. Like at that level, I need to kind of shift my mindset of like what I'm going to do.
Yeah. How can I bring value to this industry?
Yeah.
It's not performing anymore.
No.
Well, it could be, right? But that's where we come in, or you.
Yeah.
That's a tough trend. I mean, for all sport, it's like an identity crisis,
Yeah.
you know, where it's like you've only known to be this competitive performer, and then now you're not valuable anymore.
You know, you're just
now. What are you?
Yeah.
You know,
and that's too, I think, how people get into like coaching and opening dance studios, because then they feel like they're providing their value and to like the next generation. So it's like, I'm going to coach these girls, and I used to be able to do that. So like, we're going to do this. I know what it takes to do these skills, and I'm going to like give you that knowledge, or I'm going to open a studio and like help these girls get to college and dance professionally. And there's some really, really good studios. And it's to the training and studio owners who kind of foster that environment to like prepare those girls for the next step.
Did you ever go through something like that? Like your last dance in college?
My last dance in college was so...
Or like, was there a moment like that or not really?
Like my last. In high school, there was definitely a big moment. They do like a senior dance at the end of our recital. All the girls wear white. The moms come up to the front. I actually watched the video, I'd say like a couple of weeks ago, because it was like 9 years ago today was your...
Senior. Yeah. I mean,
senior
the end of May makes sense. Yeah.
So that was like a big moment of like, wow, I'm leaving like this studio, like these friends, like everyone I've made like connections with here. And then in college was a little different just because COVID. It was so unknown what the next year would look like. So my last performance, like I didn't know it was my last competition, because the following year we did like performances, but it was like on a video or in front of like a really, really small isolated crowd. So that was a little less anticlimactic because it was so much unknown at the time. But in high school, I like vividly remember like last competition, last recital, even in high school, like last basketball game, you know, everyone comes out and they do the banquets. So that was definitely like a nice closure. College was a little harder just because of the circumstances at the time.
Yeah, totally. And you built the program yourself pretty much, right? At Quinnipiac?
Yeah, I started. So when I first went to Quinnipiac, I joined one of the like student run hip hop teams. There was no like competitive coach run dance team at the time. And then my sophomore year is where we had a little administration shift, and they were going to fund club sports, which dance would be considered a club sport. And we'd get like a substantial like amount of funding from the school. And even since I was there, the program's grown tremendously. But that's when we hired a coach. So it was me and then my other friend who were like the two who like kind of led the trail. And there was a coach in the area who was like dying to get in at Quinnipiac and has been trying to start a team for years. So it was nice that she kind of landed in our lap. And she's awesome. She owns a local studio. She danced in college. She's trained tons and tons of girls. So she was great. And it was me, my friend, and then the coach. And we kind of like started the program. I mean, you know, first year there's like 10 girls on the team. We were like, please, someone just show up to tryouts, like, you know, trying to prove yourself. And now they do like recruitment camps, and I mean, they're at nationals, and
we watched it on the TV in the clinic.
So they've grown a ton, which is awesome. So I was those beginning little steps to help like lay the foundation. And now I'm glad to see it's grown, because it just shows that there's so much interest. In dance and in the sport growing, and that's
what's like the culture in college dance compared to like high school, or like the difficulty and like the competitiveness.
Yeah.
culture?
It's a little different. I mean, when you're in high school, high school's just a smaller, like, boat. So, like, everyone knows everyone. Whereas in college, like, these girls are coming to try out and, like, you don't know any of them versus in high school, like, you kind of know who everyone is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say it's definitely competitive. There's a larger pool that you're pulling from in college because people will not commit to a school based on if they make the team or not, or sometimes they don't even get into the school to start. So you have to get into the school and then you have to try out for the dance team and make the team. Whereas in high school, it's like, all right, these are the people that live within this radius. Like, we know they're going to be trying out for the team. So I'd say less competitive for making the team. College is definitely harder in that sense. And then when you're in college, you just have more independence. So I feel like you're definitely closer with your team. You're spending a ton of time together, breaks, in between classes, in between practices, basketball games, where in high school, you had like practice after school and you had your games, but most girls also danced at a studio. So it was kind of supplemental. Whereas in college, like that was all you did. So more competitive, but definitely more of like a team feel, which I think is why a lot of people want to be a part of it.
Yeah, it's cool. That's awesome. So you mentioned injuries, right? That's what we do and like get people better and stuff. What are typical things that you see common, for dancers that will hamper them with issues?
I would say definitely lower body injuries are more common. If you're talking through like mechanics and movement patterns and why issues arise. So I would say ankle, just because there's a lot of jumping, landing, turning, knee issues as well. And then kind of up the chain, hip, SIJ, low back. Those all are common ones I'll see. I probably would say knee and back maybe are the two most common. But then when I'm working on your knee, I'm looking at your ankle, we're looking at your hip. So it's similar to kind of how we evaluate people. It's one area, but you're looking down the chain in that sense.
And how would you describe like those issues arise?
I would say it's usually occur taking out like a situation like mine where I fell and like broke my foot, like a traumatic injury. It's usually over time, like a slow and gradual, like my back started bothering me. And then like 9 months later, it's like, wow, my back's killing me. The season's over, but like I can't even move now because it's kind of progressed. So I would say like those micro traumas over a long period of time, just the repetitive movements, the poor mechanics that maybe they don't realize in the moment are poor mechanics, with a lack of like underlying stability and strength in that way, that just kind of manifests to these girls are like, I can't even put pressure here. Every time I walk, it hurts. And then it kind of, builds from there.
And I'm sure they just like power through it. Yeah. Until they can't.
It's like March and you're like, I got 2 competitions left. We're going to take some Advil and get on the stage.
Yeah, exactly. Which, that makes sense, like thousands and thousands of reps of doing the same kind of thing with what you were saying of like not the best underlying stability to support the structures that are going through fast, abrupt, challenging movements over and over again. And then it just compounds over time. I mean, that's exactly like the kind of thing that other athletes and active adults that we see beyond just dance. It seems like an interesting recipe. Like that's what seems to be the main culprit of non-traumatic injuries that just like develop over a long period of time. Don't really know what happened. It just kind of started developing. Now it's gotten progressively worse for the last several weeks. So with that being, all right, so let's talk about like with knee issues. All right. So ankle, let's talk about knee issues. All right. What area of the knee usually will bother, like imagine like a 13 to an 18-year-old dancer?
I would say it's usually like infrapatellar or like underneath your patella. So kind of that like patellofemoral type pain, or like patellar pain. Those are the most common ones I see, aside it from being traumatic. I mean, I know dancers who also tore their ACL, have torn other ligaments in their knee. But I would say those 2 areas, are kind of the most common, which makes sense, given all like the jumping and landing and I mean, just the movements behind dance, that those structures are kind of being stressed over and over, with a lack of like glute core stability, poor mechanics and how things are set up, that over time those areas just tend to get irritated and they're like, well, now my knee hurts every time I plie or squat.
Yeah, totally.
Your turn.
And then low back, right? You said SIJ, so sacroiliac joint, the pelvis, so pelvic instability.
Yeah.
And then lumbar.
Pelvic instability, lumbar, kind of leading into like that, I guess you could say like hypermobility type bucket where a lot of things like just repeated extension movements are then super painful just because they're either trying to extend their back over and over and over past maybe like what a normal movement or range of motion that someone would go through, and it's the first time you do it, it doesn't feel bad, but when you've done it 100 times it's like, wow, now my back's starting to hurt, which I think comes down to a similar issue where it's like, are we using our core the right way, are we getting our glutes activated, and then maybe just like modifying the movement patterns for a short period of time until we get things under control, and then could dive into more dance specific movements from there.
Yeah, totally. So what about with people dancers that are just moving and grooving and being competitive right now? They don't really have an issue. Proactively, what would you recommend to prevent stuff like that from developing? I
mean, I would definitely recommend strength training, like any sort of strengthening stability program. I mean, if they're able to, I know we were just talking to like with the force plates we got, being able to get some objective data, if they have access to a therapist or a clinic that has something, so you can kind of get a better picture of like what you're maybe lacking strength wise, or are you compensating, because you may not realize it, but maybe your left side's compensating more than your right, or vice versa. And then just like building it into your kind of dance schedule, just a day to like work on like, I mean, I would just say strength training in general, focusing obviously glute core stability, like proprioception, balance training, all things that will carry over to dance. And even if you have no pain, I mean, that's great. If you have no pain, like,
great,
work on it. You don't have to keep it there. We don't have to change what we're doing, but we can work on things so when you're in college, you're not having issues arise in that sense.
And we also know, I mean, like it'll also just elevate the level of performance.
Yeah.
Like it'll just elevate speed and power movements.
Yeah. Jumping higher. I mean, too, I think people worry like if they strength train too much, they're going to lose like flexibility. But I mean, to be able to keep your leg up in an extension, like you need strength
to get it there,
to keep it there. Yeah. I mean, flexibility is part of the equation. But like you let go of it, and can it stay there, or is it going to fall down? So I think strengthening too elevates performance.
What do you say when imagine a 13-year-old, or let's say a 15-year-old sophomore in high school, freshman in high school is like, I don't want to strength train because I don't want to get stiff, and lose my flexibility. So therefore, I'm not going to strengthen.
Train.
What do you say?
I would more education based, like. Why do you think that strength training is going to make you like so stiff and not mobile or not flexible? And then I would just tell them like it's a good adjunct to all the flexibility and stretching that you're doing. I don't want you to stop doing that stuff. I want you to still dance. I want you to still work on your mobility, but this is just going to provide a good underlying foundation so that when you go to do your kicks and your leaps, not only can you still get your leg up there, but you can hold it there longer, and you're getting higher. Just kind of show them like, if you work on this is what is going to improve, and kind of like lay it out in that sense, being like, you're not gonna look like a bodybuilder just by doing strength training once or twice a week, but you're just gonna build like that underlying muscle that helps you perform those movements, but stronger, more powerful. And even for like a longer period of time. And if you have better strength, you can make it through that 3-minute dance and not feel like you're just flailing at the end to like make it through. It's like building up your endurance.
I totally agree. I mean, first off, like, no, you're not going to get, it doesn't guarantee, like, you're not going to guarantee get inflexible if you do strength training.
Yeah.
You're not going to, like you said, you're not going to look like a bodybuilder. Like, that takes so much time and effort to strength train. And also, like, men, of course, are just more muscular, and it takes them a long time. You're not going to like smell a weight like one time, like, whoops, I lifted a weight and it's like bulked. Immediately lost all flexibility.
Yeah.
Like, it's not going to happen, especially for a 50, then, but the other thing I always consider is like, what do the best in the world do? Like the best, whoever, if it's a track athlete, a marathon runner, a baseball player, like football, whatever, dancer, what do the best in the world do? Like, do they have strength training regimens as a part of like their comprehensive schedule?
Oh yeah.
Oh, 100%. Right. They have to. I mean, look at them.
Like,
they're ripped. Right.
And you look at some of these professionals, like even Dancing with the Stars. I've kind of got back into watching that in the last few years. And these dancers are like they're ripped. Like they are so strong. But then you also watch them do like a develope or a lift. And you're like, okay, now her foot's next to her head, but she's also so strong. So if anything, it's like a real life example of like how you could be strong, powerful, and not lose your flexibility. And I mean, these people are
maybe
20s,
even Glenn.
30s. Yeah.
Yeah. And they're way older.
I mean, they're way older than your 15, 13-year-old body.
Yeah.
So
they're 28 years old and they're more flexible
than you
and powerful.
Yeah.
And you're going to lose it in that time.
Yeah.
Interesting. Maybe write this down, but that's totally great. And also just like working on it, if you just continually work on the flexibility stuff, it's not going to diminish, it'll be increased.
Yeah.
But anyway, and it's also funny is like, well, yeah, the physique comparison, something I also told like, especially women, like they were like, I don't want to lift weights because I don't want to get bulky. My dancers, of course, in the same boat. But I'm like, man, like there's dudes that have like triple the amount of testosterone and they have a difficult time putting on muscle mass like they would want. Like what's the goal of any like 20-year-old dude? It's to be jacked.
Put on muscle
mass and look good, right?
They can.
And it's difficult for them. They're crushing protein. They're lifting 4 days a week.
Yeah.
And they're still not getting buff and bulky like you would think what you see like a bodybuilder. Because those guys are they're doing a lot of other extracurricular things to help amplify their muscle gains.
Still not.
And it's yeah. But anyway, so it's good to hear that you're in the same boat.
Yeah. I mean,
we can convey this to help people,
Same message. I mean, I thought the same thing like when I was in high school, like even when I would do some like strength training, like in my parents' little at-home gym, I would take like the 8 pounds and I'm like, can't have my arms be too big. And I'm like looking back, I'm like, I did 20 bicep curls with 8 pounds. Like that was doing absolutely nothing for me. But like, I don't know where it's taught or where it's learned, if it's social media. I don't want to blame the dance teachers because I don't ever remember a dance teacher telling me not to lift because you'll get too bulky. But it's just this kind of like,
it's a stigma.
This stigma that like people at that age believe. So it's like, oh no, yeah, I work out and you have like 5 pounds and you're doing like reverse lunges. Yeah. And you're like, that's great that you're doing something, but like we can take it to the next level for you to really make a difference.
Right, 100%. So. Good question. Like overall, because dance isn't the only sport. The other really 2 ones that come to mind right now are baseball and golf, where there's a culture shift that has definitely leaned towards the better of it was shunned. It was like, you don't want to lift weights. You're going to lose your flexibility, your mobility for golf.
Yeah.
And also like it's going to mess up your swing, because all these new
be so bulky.
You're like, I can't move around. And then baseball, same thing. Losing the throwing motion. Exactly. And then, or just swing mechanics and recruitment patterns will alter. It's going to F up your swing and your throwing and stuff.
Yeah.
So that was like in the 80s and 90s, even early, like I would say like early, like 90s, maybe 2000s. And then, so I think it's that older culture presence still that would convey that with previously erroneous beliefs and perspectives that are just like pushed now still.
Yeah.
But the other interesting thing is like guys that currently, or I mean, like, I don't know if you know Mark McGuire and Sammy Sosa, right? The late 90s, they like saved baseball, by the way. I think it was like, yeah, baseball was declining and there was a strike. Like, it was crazy. But anyway, the home run race, and then other people that weren't on that boat would look down upon Mark McGuire and Sammy Sosa. Like, there's these like bulky behemoths that like, that's not baseball. They don't even look like baseball players.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's preventing you from saying, wow, great job, this is cool, you've really worked hard, you know, like I can, exactly, like you're very muscular and that's helping you hit the ball farther. What's preventing you from saying that? Well, it's going to be some kind of, it's insecurity, you know, on their own end, or maybe against what their preconceived notions and beliefs might be, and then being proven wrong. Like they're going to preserve their status.
Yeah.
You know,
no one wants to admit they're wrong. Or
this whole time I was incorrect. You know,
I was not doing the right thing to make me the best. And it's a cool moment too. I mean, not that this is like a famous person saying this to me, but I had a patient the other day and they were like, I haven't played golf in like a couple weeks and I just played like yesterday and like I did so well. My swing like was so like good and powerful still. And they're like, maybe it's because I've just been doing like all this strength training. I'm like, maybe. I'm like, that's a great, I'm like, you maybe weren't specifically like playing around like 2 or 3 times a week, but like you're still working on like your power and your strength. And like, I mean, you've played enough golf that when you go to pick up the club again, you're going to know how to swing it. But it's like, can I now use this newfound strength that I have? And I'm like, wow, I hit the ball pretty good. It's like a nice, like, yes.
Yeah, like epiphany moment. Like, yes. Like,
awesome.
Welcome to the club, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, I've been hitting the ball further. I don't know. Maybe it's the strength training stuff. I don't know. It's like,
just maybe.
What did you, my question is like, what did you think we were doing this whole time? Up until just now, what did you think then before?
Yeah.
You know,
I guess maybe people
were we living a lie this whole time? Like, thought we were on the same page, like we're vibing and connecting on like the right stuff. And then like, now you finally get it.
I think people too think like, oh, it makes me, I feel better. Like I feel stronger. But then when they have like that specific event or that specific moment when they go to do something and it's like, okay, now the light bulb's going off. Like I feel good. Like I know I can lift heavier. I started at 15. I'm up to 30 pounds on this movement. Yeah. But like when I went to go do this activity, I really felt the difference. And I think that's like the nice like light bulb moment for people, because versus like day to day. Oh, I picked up the laundry basket. It felt a little lighter today.
Yeah.
Like
I know. It's like, not yet. Yeah. The other one that blows my mind is like working with a lot of patients. Like there's been times where they're getting better and they're like, yeah, I think, you know, I really have a feeling I'm feeling better. I think, you know, after the couple of weeks, the Advil I've been taking, I think now is kicking in. I'm like, it has nothing to do with everything that we've been doing for the past several weeks.
The Advil.
And like managing the activities you've been doing. Like we're managing this issue and we've been managing it for a couple of weeks now.
Yeah.
Advil takes 20 minutes to kick in.
You have a headache, Advil helps you. 30 minutes, you're feeling better.
Maybe even 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It doesn't take weeks to kick in.
No.
And like, you don't think everything we've been doing haven't been like the reason why you're feeling better. Like now the Advil is finally kicking in. I'm like, huge face palm moment. Like, what are we doing? You know?
Like, I'm glad you're feeling better. Let's just figure, like, we all know what's really helping.
We're like, so I think, you know, I think we'll stop this now because I think the Advil's finally, I'm like, oh my gosh, what are we doing? This whole time I thought
we were on the same page, thought we were doing so well, and then just the Advil.
I've heard that more times than I would like to have I've heard. I'm like, where do we go from here? You know? Why not then just double down on more Advil if that's what's helping, if you think, all right?
I mean, you could argue if Advil was working, why did you need to come in here in the first place?
Yeah, exactly. Just take it.
Take the Advil. But,
exactly.
Glad they're feeling better, whether they realize what's causing it or not. That's
a bummer. What message would you give dancers like that are or parents? Sorry, what message would you give parents for dancers that are like they like it, they're practicing a lot, they're getting into it, they're approaching that fork in the road, or they're in that fork and they are like probably going to go the direction of like continuing. What advice would you give parents?
I would give the advice to, I want to say, diversify. Um, have your dancer obviously do it like the style they like, but also train in other styles. Do some sort of like strength and stability, add that into their routine, and never kind of settle for just like where you're at and being happy, like feel good where I'm at, like always try to reach for that next level, because I think that's what will elevate them to be better, especially if they want to keep doing this for long term. So like the more you learn from new instructors, the more you learn from other dancers and choreographers, and then don't forget about like that dance is a sport. So like you do need recovery, you do need to work on strengthening. So even though you need kind of like periods of on and off of where like, all right, it's competition season, but now, hey, it's summer and like I'm not competing as heavy. Take that time to like really focus on like the dancer and like how are they feeling? Are we not just taking like a summer off, but we're still doing some strength training. We're still, still learning and growing, but not at the intensity that they maybe were in season, but still trying to stay consistent with some sort of program just to help them with like longevity down the road.
Yeah. And then how would you recommend, since you've been through it, somebody adds to their schedule during a more competitive season volume, adding in the strength training?
I would say like, so at least for me, competition didn't really pick up until like February. So, February to like June was recitals. Sometimes end of June, July was nationals. So that was like a great time between like July to maybe you could say around like Christmas, to like focus on more of that strength training, and building up. I mean, it takes time. You're not going to strength train for 2 weeks. And so if you start January 1 and your season starting in February, it's probably not the best idea. Or not that that's a bad idea, but you're not going to see the best outcomes. So I would start like over the summer and keep it consistent. Like start with like 2 times a week. And there can be a mobility portion of that workout in, so it's not like you have to do an hour of strength, an hour of flexibility and mobility. You can combine that together, and then when season comes, maybe like scale it back. You're doing similar movements, but you're not trying to increase your reps, increase your weight. You're just kind of staying more of in like a maintenance phase, so that you don't overdo it with all the demands of like weekend competitions and increased practices, overtraining. And then, like I'll say maintenance for season. You don't want to not do anything, but you don't want to work out lift 4 or 5 times a week. And then summer kicks back around and you're still doing some technique, some choreography. You're still doing those flexibility, mobility, ballet classes. And then you're building in like strength training 2 times a week. I mean, even 3 times if, depends. It depends how serious you are with it. Do you want to dance 6 times a week? Do you want to dance 3 times a week? What is your studio offering? Are they only offering an intensive for 1 week of the summer, or are you going for a 6-week program twice a week? So I think it can vary on the studio and, what your kind of setup is. But yeah, I would use that time from like July to those 6 months through there, July to December, to like focus on the strengthening and stability training, and then kind of decreasing, ramping up more practices, and performance type training, while you're in season.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Cool. That's good insights.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to land the plane. Thank you for sharing all those insights and your own personal backstory on some of that stuff. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Dr. Gianna is here with us. And if you have a dancer that is struggling with some issues, I can at least chat on the phone and see what you have going on and maybe what direction maybe to point you. Or if strength training stuff would be helpful, like a better benefit for you right now. But at least we can just chat on the phone. So don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or even conflicting opinions. We're always open to discussion. And we'll catch y'all next time.